Welcome to Rodney and Dr. A's Relationship Hub. Whether you're single, dating, or married, this is your go-to place for all discussions about relationships. Our topic today is roles in a relationship. A man should do one thing, a woman should do another thing, and everybody has their specific role of how things should work in every relationship. But what happens when my relationship is not the same as your relationship or their relationship? That's when we have to kind of tweak those roles and do whatever works for us. Now, traditionally, a woman belongs in the house, taking care of the home, cooking dinner, taking care of the kids, washing, cleaning, all of those domestic things. That's what the traditional world was. And the man would go out and earn the bacon. Now it's not like that because pretty much everybody needs two incomes now in order to make a household run.
Sometimes four. Way things going on.
Yeah, we ought to know because we got about that many. So that tradition kind of has to go to the wayside. Now there's some people I know that our age even today that just they're hardcore. Man goes out and work, the wife stays at home, and if that works for you, that's absolutely fine.
I can say that in our marriage, we do what works for us. We don't have a traditional, I guess, quote unquote, tradition, modern roles. We kind of fill in where we fill in. I mean, there are things that you do that I don't really do. I mean, I've done it in the past, like when you were in the military and you was on TDY, I had to cut the grass because we lived on base. But for the most part, you do all the yard work. However, as it relates to the house, if you have the free time to wash clothes, you'll wash.
Yeah.
If you do all the dishes, I don't really do the dishes. I usually do majority of the cooking. However, if I have a late day or I have a lot on my plate, then you'll go ahead and either cook or order something to eat. We just do what works for the house to make sure that everything is done and everything is rolling and everything is efficient. So there's no really traditional roles in our household.
Yeah, and I think the main reason we were able to do that is because we were able to communicate with each other when times came up. If you had to work late, you let me know, hey, I'm not going to be home till this and this and this. Especially like when I worked at the prison and I would be on either that swing shift or that morning watch, I would be home all day anyway. So I have dinner ready when you walk in, as opposed to you having dinner ready when I walk in. I'm already at home. I can already wash clothes or do that cleaning or whatever is necessary. But that communication was key in us being able to understand what needed to be done at a certain amount of time.
And ironing clothes. I mean, I iron just to get the stuff straight so I don't go to work wrinkled.
No crease.
Yeah, I don't care about none of that. You know, this video is not to tell you that you should do this or you should do that. The video mainly is to tell you that whatever works in your household, and if it works and you're not arguing about it, then leave it the way it is.
Yeah, that's what you should do. Be flexible and adaptable.
Right.
And we've been able to do that pretty much throughout our whole marriage. Because when I was in the military, there were certain things that with my schedule that were unavoided. Even when I worked at the prison, there were things in my schedule that were unavoided. When I was an air marshal, that definitely, I was hardly ever home. So you were really handling everything by yourself. It wasn't until we got here where I kind of got them banker's hours where things would be a little more normal. But even on the same point, when you were in school, there were still certain things that I had to do. When you had to go and show up for something at a function at the school at night, I would do. So again, we were always flexible. We were always adaptable. There was never for us, there's never any beef. Oh, I'm doing this and she ain't doing. As long as it get done, I ain't care.
Right. You sweep, I sweep. You mop, yeah. I mop. Now, I can't say you wash the dishes, I wash the dishes. It's going to be undercover. I don't wash the dishes.
But we communicated that very early. We talked about that. And I'm like, hey, if she slaves over the stove and all this stuff the whole day, the least I can do is clean up the kitchen. I don't have a problem with that at all. That's that flexibility and adaptability. That's that teamwork.
That work. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, another thing that people talk about is who's going to make the decisions in a relationship. The man is the head and the woman must submit. All of that is true. And we believe that. But that does not mean that she gets no say at all. That does not mean that I walk over her, that I step on her, and that everything that I say is just how it's going to be. If I value her, number one, I want her opinion. If I value her intellect, which she has quite a bit of it, I want her to have input because everything that happens is going to affect not just me, it affects us. It affects us as man and wife. At the time when we had all the kids, it affected the entire family. So for us, this decision making was a shared point. Now, there would be times where I would say something and I would feel like that should be the last thing said. But being completely honest, there would be things that you knew more about than I did. So when you said something, I'd be like, okay, let's go with that. So again, it's sharing. The biggest thing I'll say about the decision making, a man that tries to walk over his wife does not understand what it means to be the head. Because if I got to keep telling you I'm in charge, I'm not really in charge anyway. And for the women, my thinking is, if you have trouble submitting, you should approach it from the standpoint that your husband is not trying to take your authority away, and that should make it a little bit easier. Did that come out right?
A lot of women don't want to hear the word submit and shut down immediately. They correlate it with slavery and submitting to your earthly master. It's easier for a woman to submit to a man who uplifts her, supports her, elevates her, makes her feel safe, makes her feel loved and not inferior, or makes her feel beneath him or inadequate in any way.
Eve came from where?
Adam's rib.
And the rib is where?
Right here on the side.
Right, so you're together.
Yeah.
You're walking side by side.
Yeah.
You're not stepping on her.
No.
You're not discounting her.
No.
The Bible speaks that the two become one.
And as Eve, you're not trying to undermine me.
No.
Because you're there to protect me and to cover me. Because ribs cover all that vital stuff, heart, lungs, all those organs that you really need to survive. So you're not trying to go behind my back and do anything. You're not trying to step over me and jump on me.
I think that because a lot of times in a marriage, you're two different people. You're coming from two different households, two different backgrounds, two different upbringings. You've had various experiences in your life. Most times you didn't have some of the same experiences. So your thought process is a lot different than the other person may be.
Right.
And what you have to understand is you have to take all of that and turn it into one. And that's the difficult part about a marriage.
Yes.
Trying to take all the baggage, all the experiences, all the upbringings, all the things that happened to you in your past or whatever it is, and trying to take all of that and turn it into one unity that's going to work together for the good of you and your family.
Would you agree that communication is the key to being able to accomplish that?
I think communication is key, but I think the number one thing is the mindset. How you think about the relationship. What do you would like to see happen in that relationship?
All right. Well, that brings me to my next point is, even though that we are in a relationship, you're still you, I'm still me, and that's okay, right?
Yes.
It's still, I would expect you and hope that you would maintain your individuality and your autonomy. Just because we're married doesn't mean you have to agree with everything I agree with, do everything that I do, like everything that I like, and vice versa. It's possible for you to have hobbies and to have likes and things that you like to do apart from me, and you should be able to go and do that. And same with me. Like, I like going to the range. You don't have any issue with that. I like watching comic book movies, and you don't have any issue with that. You like, what do you like? But just because we're married doesn't mean that you don't still get to be an individual.
Correct.
And every person in that relationship should be able to still be that individual that they were before they came into the marriage.
Right.
And when we're together, but you should be able to go out and do those things that you like that I may not have an interest in apart from you. But then maintaining that individuality is very important for each person to support the other. Every single thing that she does, I'm her biggest supporter, because when she wins, I win. And she does the same to me. She's always my biggest supporter. She's always pushing me forward. She's always telling me how smart I am and how much she admires my intelligence and all those different things. When you got your lady standing behind you, feel like you can do anything. So you definitely want to make sure that you support one another, that you encourage one another. Nobody should be a bigger cheerleader for your man or your woman than you are. So when it comes to roles in a relationship, you have to do what works for you. We don't have any kind of set relationship roles. We get in where we fit in. Whatever you can do and compromising and working together and supporting one another is what's going to continue to drive that relationship forward. So you need to do whatever's going to work best for you. Don't allow the outside world to tell you exactly who should be what, who should do what. They're not in your house. You need to do what works for you. Thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed the information that you heard, hit that like button. But more importantly, click that subscribe bell so that every time we put out a new video, you'll be the first ones to know. God bless you. Have a great day.